can we just show people what you're talking about? This is off Wikipedia, and there are a number of violent incidents that have been listed as exactly what you're saying. There's lynchings in there. There's forcing the victim of the violence to chant it before the violence is perpetrated. People can just go and have a look at themselves. Also in the political world. I'll read this out. In June 2019, the slogan was used to heckle Muslim MPs as they proceeded to take their oath in the 17th Lok Sabha. Pardon about my pronunciation. In July that year, a notable laureate stated in a speech that the slogan was not associated with the Bengali culture, leading to some unknown groups publishing his statement on Billboard in Kolkata. The slogan has also been used to heckle West Bengal Chief Minister, another name there, on multiple occasions, triggering angry reactions from her. So it is linked to these violent incidents. And I was just going to say, if people want to see more about what you're talking about, if you go to Wikipedia and you just look up the statement, the slogan, there are a bunch of things in there that it's been associated with. I guess what it would be good to know for me, is like, is it a statement, is it a slogan that is really clearly saying and understood to mean what you're saying, or has it been co-opted? Like I think about in the 6th of January, when the riots in America, all those alt-right, far-right Americans were going, USA, USA. And the patriots, the far-right patriots in America have co-opted that saying. And now when you hear it chanted, you know what it means. Or is it something that's always had a birthplace and an origin in the sort of oppression of Muslims in the area?
What a beautiful question. First, I want to begin, with the notion as a Hindu, with the notion that Hinduism itself is a plural, heterogeneous religion. There is no one register for Hinduism. So
Yep.
Ram is one among many deities. So you read that quote and that incident with Professor Amartya Sen, who was targeted for saying that Jai Shri Ram is attached with Hindutva. He's a Bengali and so am I. And
Right.
in our part of India, we are goddess worshippers. So we are worshippers of what would be called Shakti. And Ram is not a register in that sense. But, Lord Ram is a register for Indians in many parts of India. And in that sense, the saying Jai Shri Ram as an everyday saying, and that comes in many forms, in many linguistic features, is uttered as an everyday chant in everyday practice in contexts where people practice Hinduism in different parts of India and in the diaspora. But that has entirely been transformed by the Hindutva movement. So when you look at a slogan, and this is a critical part as a communication scientist, I would say that any utterance needs to be looked at in context, right? So
Yep.
we have
Yep.
had these debates on from the river to the sea, and I have said that from the river to the sea, when voiced by those who are oppressed, who are experiencing a settler colonial occupation, it needs to be read in the context of resisting that occupation.
So
Now,
that you're talking about the Palestinians there. It's said
yes,
in a way of resistance, not in a way of elimination to the Jews. Because that's another question that we wanted to know.
yes.
Some controversial statements have multiple meanings to multiple people. Is this one of them? But please continue, sir.
Yes. So, but when you look at then a slogan like Jai Shri Ram that is mobilized by a political form of organizing that seeks to turn India into a Hindu nation, which means really by turning Muslims into second-class citizens, which is already happening,
All
or
right.
by removing Muslims from India, that becomes part of a majoritarian politics. And as scientists who have been studying this would say, a feature of two things. One is the turn of the state toward fascist politics or almost fascist politics, where various
Right.
institutions of democracy are being dismantled. And the second part being the turn of the state toward a theocracy, where the state is constructed as Ram Rajya. So India's constitution, and it's a powerful exemplar of post-colonial democracy celebrated globally, where it ensconces the notion of secularism into its constitution that is fundamentally being dismantled through
Yeah.
this process. And Jai Shri Ram needs to be read as part of that majoritarian populism.